everybody. My name is Raven, and this week we are talking about Matthew 5 3 to 16, which goes as follows. Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are those persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men shall revile you, persecute you, and speak all manners of evil against you for my sake. Rejoice, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. There are many ways this could go from here, but the message that stood out to me the most was more or less the strength of spiritual fortitude. There are many who seem to think that Christianity is a free ride, but in reality, it is a lot of work. You can't just sit and do nothing and reap the benefits of that. There is a matter of work and strength that goes into faith. It'll not always be easy, and it'll not always be pleasant. It is important to be very steadfast in your faith and understand what it means to have faith and how to use it. Faith will be tested constantly. Any comic book fans or Marvel fans will probably remember the phrase uttered by Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. This is pretty much the same with faith. To have faith means you have to be responsible for the faith you have. This is maintaining a balance of stubborn and steadfast faith through persecution, but also a responsibility of utilizing that faith properly. Many people use faith as a sort of weapon, a sort of status symbol to use against others. I'm more righteous because I'm a Christian, so therefore I shall use Christian force against others that I don't agree with. This is not the case. Faith should not be seen as a status symbol. You're not better than anybody else because you believe. You can have faith, and it's good to have it, and it's fine if you want to share your faith, but one must remember that pride cometh before the fall. You can be proud to be Christian, but do not use that pride in a sinful manner. It is important to understand that with faith comes a sense of humility. To be Christian is not just to look the part. Wearing a cross or having a tattoo of Jesus, having paintings of the Last Supper, that doesn't make you Christian. Anyone can have all that stuff and not be Christian. It is pretty much about the deeds and faith you have. A good example of which would be something that my priest actually told us one year for Ash Wednesday. It was the first time that I had gone. And he suggested that those coming up to get the cross put on their forehead should do so to show their faith, but to do it to have their own relationship with God. It wasn't something to be ashamed of, but it also wasn't something to display. He said if anyone was ashamed to wear it, they shouldn't come and get it. Likewise, anyone who got the cross put on their head with the ashes and went out and displayed it was also in the wrong. it wasn't a good idea to go out and show off that you had gone to Ash Wednesday, gotten the ash on your head, and therefore, look, I am such a good Christian. Look what I did. I went to Ash Wednesday and got the cross. This is not humble. And this is the opposite of what this is supposed to imply. The best course of action was to receive this cross and seal your relationship with God and then leave it at that. You could leave it on your head and go about your day, or take it off after the service. It wasn't a symbol to show others, but simply to receive for your own spiritual sake. For me, this reminded me of the Milgram experiment. In a nutshell, these people were asked to volunteer for an experiment in learning. And these people would come into a room where there was a switch box. And they were to give instruction to an unseen student. And when the student was incorrect, they were to flick a switch which would send an electric jolt. And each mistake would mean that the voltage would be increased. So every mistake made, every knob hit, the student would scream more violently. In reality, this was not the actual experiment. It was actually an experiment on obedience to authority. Can authority make human beings do horrible things despite those people knowing they are doing wrong? Nobody was really hurt during these experiments. There was no electric jolt. It was just a box with knobs on it. It was all pretend. And there were teachers that came in and all believed that they were hurting the student, the learner, and would stop the experiment because they knew it was wrong. Others continued until the end, not caring how much they hurt the other person because they were instructed to continue no matter what. In this case, I would think that in regards to Matthew 5:3 to 16, we would see the teachers that quit to be the more righteous. They knew they were doing wrong, and despite what they were told to do, they stood stubbornly with their own beliefs that they were not going to hurt this other person for science. So we should always remember that there should always be a balance when it comes to our beliefs. We should be proud enough to act accordingly. We should also remember to keep a level of humility so that our faith and our pride in our faith are not seen as symbols of status or symbols of superiority over other people. It is not to be displayed for others to look at as some great thing to be acquired in the same sense as a sports car or a fancy fur coat. It's not about looking good to other people. It's not about obeying to just obey or following a certain path. It is about understanding what is expected of you for the good and for the bad, and to act accordingly to show that your relationship with God is good, strong. It's like it says in the passage. It talks about salt losing its savor and therefore being worthless. What good is it? It can look like salt all at once, but it won't have the same taste. We can appear as Christian as we want. We can look as good as we like. We can display this great faith we have. But if it's not honest, then it's just not worth anything. Who cares what you look like displaying your faith if you don't truly have the faith, if you don't truly act, if you don't practice what you preach. Likewise, when it says, when we put a light on a candle rather than under a bushel, we are lighting the way for others. We are making the experience pleasurable and revealing truth. What we are not doing is using that light to cause more damage. Faith may look good, but if you hurt others to push it, then you're doing more damage than good. You're not lighting the way. You're making God distasteful to others. If you do it the right way, via the candlestick rather than the bushel, you are lighting the way and not causing damage. You are lighting the way and making it pleasurable. You are lighting the way for others to follow. Anyway, I think it was really important to remember those things. Have stubbornness, have a strong faith, but also have a sense of humility. And remember the wise words of Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.